The old man behind the counter smiled, but I could see the suspicion in his eyes behind those horn-rimmed glasses. As he rang up the spools of construction line, I told him I was a contractor working on a surveying job. He nodded, though I could feel the weight of his judgment, and when I left the hardware store, I noticed the same expression mirrored on the faces of the old men lingering in the diner across the road. Distrust. Their stares followed me out to the car. The government had awarded my company a contract to conduct a cultural impact assessment on a section of Driftwood River, slated for a new dam project. On paper, the job was simple: locate and document any remains of Carthage, a settlement swallowed when the river was dammed decades ago. In truth, it was the kind of work no one wants: hot, slow, dirty field days wading through brush and waterlogged soil, cataloguing the ghosts of old lives for reports no one will read. Cultural resource management isn't archaeology in the romantic sense. It's compliance work. The laws demand paperwork before bulldozers move in, and so contractors like me take what we can get. Universities don't hire aging adjuncts who publish nothing. Museums don't fund researchers who cut corners. My career had been a long erosion, integrity giving way to convenience. Scholarship to survival. So I found myself in that town, checking into a room above a boarded-up general store, stringing line between rusted fence posts to mark survey squares, and hearing "damn your own damn river" in every muttered greeting. The locals hadn't forgiven the dam. Their homes were gone, their history drowned. Every utility pole along the county road still bore green and white placards with that same slogan. The paint fresh, the nails hammered in just this year. I was meant to be cataloguing surface finds, making maps, photographing stone foundations in the weeds. Instead, I was coughing. At first, I thought it was allergies. The ragweed was thick and golden along the banks, but the cough deepened. A raw itch settled behind my sternum, accompanied by fatigue that made every note-taking session blur. My fingers broke into rashes from the construction twine. Nights brought fevered dreams of brick streets under a red sky. In those dreams, Carthage lived, a bustling river town, brick facades, steam rising from the Conotus as she churned at her moorings. People hurried down to the quay, their voices sharp with anger. I saw their faces clearly: men with flushed cheeks, women clutching shawls to their mouths, all of them afraid. The next morning I found a stone in the woods, a slab, half buried in moss, carved with Latin, quos volt pedir, Iapita demenet prius, whom Jupiter would destroy, he first makes mad. Beneath it was a name, crudely cut, barely legible through lichen, Claire. I sketched it, photographed it, noted the GPS coordinates. The slab was not in the state archives. No mention of it in any survey report. Each night the dreams grew sharper. I saw the Conotus again, tied at the quay, her lamps throwing yellow light on the dark current. Men with ropes and axes moved among her. A crowd had gathered. I could hear the word whispered and shouted alike, plagued. By the fourth week, the sickness had settled into my chest. My cough rattled in the quiet. The skin along my neck flushed with a rash that no ointment relieved. The old men at the diner turned their heads when I entered now. as if my presence confirmed something they'd long suspected. I found myself staring at the river for hours. The surface was calm, broken only by driftwood and eddies. Beneath it, I imagined the drowned streets of Carthage, the courthouse dome, the schoolyard, the church spire swallowed in silt, and somewhere below, the Conotus herself, still lashed to the quay where the mob had left her. The fevered dreams told me more. I saw men nailing boards over the gangplank, hammering the last crew inside. The ship was not abandoned but entombed. The sickness had taken the town, and the boat became its coffin. On the 7th night I woke gasping, blood in my mouth. I went out at dawn and stood barefoot at the riverbank, staring into the brown water. I knew then that I had to see her by week's end. I had requisitioned a remote rover from the State University, a small machine, bristling with cameras and sonar, tethered by cable to my laptop. The locals gave me no help. They watched from the road as I lowered the crate to the shallows, their expressions unreadable. That night, I dreamed of Carthage once more. The lamps of the Conotus glowed in the mist. A girl, Claire, I thought, stood on the quay with her hand raised as if in farewell. Behind her, the townsfolk chanted. Axes bit wood. Ropes creaked. The boat began to list. When I woke, my rash had spread across my chest. My eyes were yellowing. My breath whistled when I exhaled. Still, I drove to the river at first light. I placed the rover into the water. My fingers shook on the controls as the machine nosed forward into the current, its lights piercing the murk. The cable unspooled steadily, the depth readings climbing. I kept my eyes fixed on the monitor, searching for the shadow of hull timbers, the line of a paddle wheel, the silent bones of a town that had tried to bury its own sins. I told myself it could be anything else, rock, log, silt mound, but all the while I hoped it was not. I hoped it was her.